these are some beads that I picked up at Salvation Army. Now, these were donated to the Salvation Army from a local Chicago auction house, Hinman, Lindy Hinman Galleries, Leslie Hinman Galleries. These beads say, beads from Tutankhamun's tomb given to me in Switzerland in 1924. And then it has initials HK. This is a postcard in here, which came from the Cairo Museum. And somebody framed these beads to hang them. And they wrote on the back again, beads from Tutankhamun's tomb given to me in Switzerland in 1924. Now I'm going to take these beads out of here. Initially when I seen these, I knew they were real mummy beads, so I wanted them. And I was just discounting that somebody would write and say from Tutankhamun's tomb. But the more I looked into it, I've been unable to discount that these aren't from Tutankhamun's tomb. And I've had clues that lead me to believe that it could be from Tutankhamun's tomb. Now this postcard here, I got some names. So we look for provenance. We got a name, Miss Crockett. It says, "Dear Miss Crockett, hope you are feeling better." There's a couple words obscured. "You take good care of yourself. If there is anything I could do, please let me know. You are in my prayers. Your eternal friend, Ron Fisher." Now, I'm sure that this is from Chicago, Ron Fisher. And then he writes, "The whole world is celebrating Miss," and the words aren't there, but got to be Miss Crockett's birthday. It says something about her being special. And here's the date, 1985, March 28th of 1985. I discounted these at first, and then when I looked into, I got these about 8 years ago. I started Googling, and I came across an article in Der Spiegel magazine. It was written in about 2010, I think. And it was a big detail about, the whole article was about the discoverer, Howard Carter, that he took things from Tutankhamun's tomb. And, he pocketed things. The guy that found the tomb, he wasn't wealthy. He was an antique dealer. And he found a rich lord to finance several years of him trying to find Tutankhamun's tomb, which he did eventually find. But when I read this, it goes on to detail, in Der Spiegel magazine, you can Google it. Google Der Spiegel, King Tut, blue mummy beads. Because in that article it states that items from King Tut's tomb have showed up in Switzerland and Germany. And I've read another article that had mentioned that too. There are some museums. That article tells you a lot. There's some museums where some items from King Tut's tomb have showed up. And Lord Carnarvon, who financed King Tut expedition to find the tomb, he died a year after the tomb was found. But they said that in his house, they found things in the pantry, hidden in cupboards that were from King Tut's tomb. So things were taken from the tomb. But that article also says, and I'm working on getting a hold of the reporter from the Der Spiegel article, he says that he found a curator in Saxony, Germany, who wished to stay anonymous, who told him he had blue mummy beads from King Tut's tomb. So, the more I look into this, the more it's so interesting, and I can't discount that these aren't from his tomb. If somebody just wrote this on here, and that's it, I Googled and I found nothing, okay. But, I'm finding things. These are blue mummy beads, and the article states, in Saxony, Germany, blue mummy beads. A curator has got some, but he didn't say what museum. I'm trying to get a hold of that curator through the reporter, and maybe I could see if they're the same type beads that I have here. There's about 120 beads. And if they are the same beads, maybe we could do a chemical test of one of his and one of mine here. And if they come up similar, an exact match, then we know that there's something here. I want to get a carbon-14 date test of these too, and that'll help me. Here's another thing. King Tut, we didn't really hear, it was discovered in 1922, but we didn't really hear much until the 70s. Remember, it was traveling, the King Tut exhibit, because finally they were starting to advertise it, and I guess the museums wanted to make money off it. And it was the big thing, King Tut. Matter of fact, it took about 10 years ago when I seen King Tut, I read an article and it said Tutankhamun. I was like, what? I always just thought it was King Tut. I didn't know what Tutankhamun meant. It's actually King Tutankhamun. We just call him King Tut. That's how he became famous. And you remember Steve Martin had that song about King Tut. But anyways, what I'm getting at here by giving you the 70s history, this is 1985, okay? This is to an elderly woman, Miss Crockett. These initials look like HK. I wish I had the person's name. I mean, this could have been her father. I don't know. Is Miss Crockett tied to this? There's another question. But why I'm giving you the history of in the 70s, if somebody just did this to do it and hang them up, which a lot of people do, there's a lot of forged stuff out there, wouldn't they just say beads from King Tut's tomb? Everybody knows him as King Tut. But this talks to him as Tutankhamun. And this was 1985. And you can see how this is all yellowed in the back. You see it? So this is from the mid-'80s. Another thing I read, it wasn't until the 1990s that they realized that things were missing from King Tut's tomb. Not missing from it, but, that there was stuff out there that the discoverer had taken for himself. And like I say, there's other museums that have stuff, and, it's advertised. It's in that article by Der Spiegel, and nobody's going to claim them, or nobody from the Cairo museum's going to hunt these museums down to ask for the stuff back. They've got over 7,000 items in the exhibit, and they're beautiful. It's a gorgeous exhibit. I'm sure they're happy with what they have. But I'm trying to give you the whole history here to see why I'm still keeping in on this. I'm going to put these on eBay. Matter of fact, I put these on eBay after I got them, but I didn't want to sell them. I wanted to know about them. And I put them up at $9.99. I mean, people just thought it was a joke. But, I wrote in there, hey, this is, I take this legitimate, here's what I found. Well, I stopped the auction after 4 or 5, 6 days. I figured, heck with it. It was getting a couple of bids, nothing much. Because people who understands it, who believes these are from King Tut's tomb. After I stopped that auction, I got an email through eBay, and it was all capital letters, and it was a guy from Germany, and all he said was in capital letters, I must have those beads. So, here we go again. Stuff showed up in Germany and Switzerland. And here you have, these were given to this person in Switzerland in 1924. So, I'm going to try a carbon-14 date test, and I'm hoping through this reporter I could find out the Saxony, Germany Museum that told him anonymously that he has beads from King Tut's tomb, and I'd like to compare them. And, do a chemical test and see if it's a precise match. See if they're the same type of beads he's got. But it's really interesting here, and these claim to be beads from King Tut's tomb. Like I said, there's 120 of them. So you can email me if you think you know something. Email me through YouTube here. And my email is it's all 3 words, all 1 word, newjourneyrecovery@gmail.com. So just all words, all 3 words together, bunched up, no hyphens, nothing. newjourneyrecovery@gmail.com. That's quite interesting. Thank you.